In today's satsang, we will take up Dakshinamurthy Stothram. Lord Dakshinamurthy. Here I have put his picture. Lord Dakshinamurthy, the deity. His picture is hung here. We are going to look into the verse given by Adhi Shankaracharya on Lord Dakshinamurthy. Lord Dakshinamurthy is an aspect of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, as such, is having the form of only a linga, a symbol, but he is the teacher of wisdom. He teaches wisdom. Guru Dakshinamurthy, especially in the form of a human form with 4 hands, he is imparting wisdom by his very posture. The posture of him in the image reveals the highest state. He is an iconic representation which annihilates the very posture, annihilates ignorance in one. And wisdom dawns. Wisdom dawns. Where ignorance is routed, uprooted, and that's the abode of the oneness. It's a non-dual state. This is what the very picture, the image of Lord Dakshinamurthy, if one bears it in mind, if one holds it in mind, the image of Lord Dakshinamurthy, immediately one can remember the supreme states that actually is. Easiness is the supreme state. That easiness is identical to one's deep sleep state. That's the supreme state. By a posture for one's adoration in this part of the world, the supreme teachings are immediately brought to practical applications in the form of a depiction of images. India is called as Jnana Bhumi, the land of wisdom. In southern India, street to street, in almost all the streets, there are temples. And especially in Tamil Nadu, street to street. Why was such an importance given to the inner probe, the inner investigation, to find out, to be that one, to be that oneness? Why was such an importance given? The kings who were all ruling, Chera, Chola, Pandya kings, they were advised by the Nayanmars or the Alvars, the saints or the seers. Their counsel was always available to them, and they were only asked to, their primary mission in life was to build temples, adorn it with the deity, the Murti. Murti means idol, Vigraha, the deity, the Lord. The truth is everywhere, at all places, at all times. But still, for an application purpose, to apply it immediately to this moment of my waking state, how one needs to approach this? No one questions if the whole of waking state is spent in a temple, sitting there and meditating. That was almost the business here. Non-dually, it got mixed with one's livelihood. Temple is mixed up with one's livelihood. And why such a celebration, such an adoration? The adorning of the temple itself, right from the temple tower, the Gopuram they call here, from there to the Garbhagraha and all the praharas, everything is associated with the temple. Why is it so? The main intention was they got established in this truth. The seers, the saints, the Nayanmars, the Alvars, they got established. Only one thing prevails. One vastu prevails. Timelessly. Time is a relative phenomenon. It's a relative phenomena. It's not true. Because it is immediately referred to one's passing state. One passes 3 states of existence in one's life. One's 24 hours of life, one passes through 3 states. Anything and everything is immediately referred with these 3 passing states, because truth is actually everywhere, at all the places, at all times. All the more it throbs in a human being. Its abode is the very dominantly, very powerfully, the highest excellence in this existence is the human mind. It is as well a trap and as well leads to liberation. It's a trap as well. One who is lost to his mind, one who is lost in his senses, the senses of perception, it becomes a trap. The mind becomes a trap. The same mind is the gateway. Mind, individuality, past registrations, ego, bondage, all these words refer to the same thing, a separate self-existence assumed by the mind, individual mind. That's all. Nothing more than that. It's a science. Since they got established in this science, the science of transcendence, it's a science of transcendence that one should understand. Ascendance, the English word, ascend, means go higher. Always this word trance is used. What is actually self-realization? It is also a transformation. This word trance, actually, the dictionary meaning of it is through and beyond. Through and beyond. Transcontinental flight is a flight which flies above that continent, over that continent, and through that continent, and crosses that continent. It goes beyond the continent. A flight which goes to America from India, it crosses the African continent and reaches America. The same way, transaction, an action through an account, through the account, and it goes beyond the account. Beyond that particular account. One who knows accounts, he will understand this. If one entry is passed in the personal account, debit entry, the credit entry will appear in some other account, real account or nominal account. So it affects one account. Through that account, it goes to another destination. The other aspect of it goes to another place in the same account, in some other different account. Once one is debited, the credit goes to some other account. So through that account, the transaction takes place. It's an action. Then it's an accounting action, any transaction. The same way, transformation. What is transformation? The form. In and through the form. What is a form? Lord Dakshinamurthy's depiction is a form. The form is depicted here. What does it depict? We will see it. It depicts a form. It depicts something of transcendence. That's why here I have given the title, because all these things are immediately, they have a connotation to one's passing states of existence. One individual's passing states of existence. That is the connotation that has. The transcendence, the transcendent state which Lord Dakshinamurthy depicts, actually conveys this. It has a direct connotation to an individual. Look at it. Look within yourself. By remembering his posture, by entering the temple, by entering any temple, you are taken to higher levels of your consciousness. Consciousness, the word is also normally referred to mind. The moment I say mind, mind does two activities. It exists in the waking state and in the dream state. These two states are called as the states of knowing. Knowing what? There must be an object to be known. That's why it's called as a knowing state. Using the intellect or using the mind, one knows something. One understands something. One sees something. One perceives through his senses something. That is why these states are called as knowing states, experiencing states. That's why the same mind becomes a ladder for one's understanding about that which is lying beyond mind. And that beyond mind state also happens to everyone during the deep sleep. See, all the things are available here and now in every one of us, especially to a human mind, sir. This one should understand clearly. It's available exclusively to a human mind. It happened in millennia, even for the level of animal levels also, insect levels also it has happened. The transformation has happened. It has happened. But necessarily through a human form, endowed with a human mind, with which one can transcend the very mind itself, and he goes beyond mind. This is what is transcendence or transformation. All the forms, through the forms, using the same mind, using the same psyche, using the same senses, one transcends the senses. The mere depiction. Otherwise, what is the medium or a communication one has here to understand the transcendence truth, the truth of the transcendence? What is the communication he has? How a normal person will suddenly attain to Nirguna Brahma state. Nirguna means without any name and form. Gunas. Gunas in the sense, there are certain qualities. Out of those qualities only, the creation takes place. Prakriti means that which is getting manifested. The whole manifestation comes out of three gunas. The three gunas are always in action here. Sattva, Rajasa, Tamasa gunas. That is what they call. Guna means the quality, the nature of one, the nature of a thing, anything that which got manifested. Inherently, it got manifested because of the interactions of the three gunas. This is what is the basic fact. The whole creation has come into existence because of the interaction of the three gunas. In one also, in an individual also, these three gunas interact moment to moment, including deep sleep. See, no moment is left with the interaction of the gunas. Even in a disembodied state also, the three gunas work. That is why mind prevails without even a body. Mind continues, registrations continue, your essence continue. One should understand this. Here, in this part of the land, India, this is a place of wisdom. That is the very soul of this land. Heart and the very throb of this land is nothing but be sane, be sensible, get beyond your senses. Your physical form or the subtle form called as mind is not the reality. They are not the realities. You are something beyond this. The very basic level starts with this. In India, anything and everything is depicted as godliness. Anything as that has come as a manifestation. A stone, a tree, all the animals, anything and everything. An atom considered to be divine. Why in the first place these sages, these rishis, definitely it has come out of their imagination. All the deities, all the gods. But why at all they brought these forms, depictions? Because it carries 100% communication to one. One is fully communicated. The communication is so perfect, the very livelihood of one throughout the day is moving in and around through these activities only, these higher states of existence only. The moment he remembers, because it's not a question of even remembering or recalling about the form of a deity. One is not actually recalling or remembering it. It is in and through him. The moment a sloka or a stotram is chanted even within, the words appear even within in his mind, what happens? He is lifted. His consciousness is lifted to higher planes. There are planes. There is one abode, only one abode, which is so natural, easy, direct, immediate. Immediate. How much of effort does one put to get into sleep? How sleep envelops one? How does one go to sleep? He falls asleep. Sleep envelops. What is its nature? The nature the sleep depicts, gives to one. It is not even given to one. It is a state embodies at easeness, comfortability, relaxedness. The very center dissolves. That supreme state, through this particular depiction called Lord Dakshinamurthy, the sages brought in the nature of Shiva. Shiva, the word, actually means auspiciousness. Auspiciousness, at easeness, non-duality, peace, tranquility, quietude. The basal elements are this akasha, this space is the primary element. Out of the 5 elements, this is the fundamental element, Akasha, the accommodating principle. In and through it dwells. The space is in and through. Every cell floats in that space. Every atom with its nuclei, even the forces, what could be the ultimate that a human mind can realize here? That is what is depicted in the form of Lord Dakshinamurthy. Dakshinam means south, the direction of south. See, directions need a reference point. In space, that too all our directions are mainly centered around sun. And our earth is revolving on its axis, rotating on its axis. In relation to the sun, it is actually eastwards, it is rotating. But for these sages or seers, why this particular direction you should face? Why Lord Dakshinamurthy looks at the direction of south? South represents death, ending. What is a human being, sir? This form, especially, this form, this actually creates all the 4 directions in, not only in one. These are the real 4 directions. How the directions are given here in one's body, the section beneath throat, beneath this neck, that is the south direction. This place is called Kandam in Sanskrit. Neela Kandam. That is what they say for Lord Shiva. Once he drank the Alahala Visha, that is nothing but ego. One's ego abides here. We can realize this fact when we wake up from our deep sleep. Here and there, thoughts would have started creeping in one's mind, and those thoughts only brings along with it the identifications of himself to the body also. The neck position or the throat position should come to a stance. It should stand up on the body, lifting the head also. That means now the thoughts have got stabilized. They got stabilized as a thinker, as a doer, as an entity which lives through that body, as identities that live through that body. A straightened neck comes. One wakes up. Actually, one's waking up is identical to the ideas getting woken up. His thoughts getting aroused. His identifications with the thoughts as himself has arisen in him. That is why this place is very important. So, this direction of south is actually, above the neck is north. This is the abode of all the jnanendriyas almost, except touch. Touch is felt throughout the body. Taste, smelling, hearing, seeing. These are senses of perceptions. In Sanskrit, they call it as jnanendriyas. They are all abiding here. And the whole, with the trunk and the feet and other limbs, are all placed in the direction of south. Mostly the consciousness of body. One's identification with the body is death. This is what is actually the meaning, the depiction of the Lord Dakshinamurthy here. He looks at constantly throughout the waking state. It is not waking state, sir. He is almost in this state throughout. We are actually investigating our states, the existence of the passing of our states, and how it is directly connected, linked to the transcendent truth. That's why the very explanation or the definition, the essence I gave it is transcendent, the transcendent truth. The truth is transcendence. It is not here. That is why they use it as Parampurul. In Tamil they say Parampurul. Param means higher. Higher. Transcendent, brought for moment to moment application. All these Stothram, slokas, all the verses that are given by our great sages, the seers, they all communicate the truth only. That too, when they are described with a form also, they are depicted in a form. The truth is depicted through a form, and the verse adores, praises. Stothram means stuti. Stuti means praising. What are you actually praising? You are praising about yourself. Do you really praise? Actually, you are investigating. The stotras, all the suktams, all the scriptural verses, all the verses that are in the scriptures, everything that are written by the sages and seers, saints, they are practical beyond psychological truths. That is why here in this part of world, especially in India, even in school curriculum, they are taught all these verses. The highest truth is given in the 4th standard or 3rd standard here. I remember having read one Tamil Tamil verse from Tevaram, or I don't know exactly. வானாகி மண்ணாகி வழியாகி ஒளியாகி ஊனாகி உயிராகி உண்மையுமாய் இன்மையுமாய் கோனாகி யான் எனது என்றவரை கூத்தாட்டுவானாகி நின்றாய என் சொல்லி வாழ்த்துவனே. The highest is given just like that. With a ripe mind, with a matured mind, one sloka is sufficient for one to completely transcend this mind. One sloka is sufficient. One word is sufficient. That is why even the depiction of Dakshinamurthy, in one hand he is holding Vedas. Out of the four hands, one hand holds the Veda. Veda is, the essence is Veda Mahavakyas, the great sentences, the great proclamations we can say. It's proclaimed, declared, declarations of the essence. And they are not declared ordinarily. They are immediately, because anything and everything is for a human mind, sir. Human mind can rise, can elevate itself, can understand to higher planes of existence, higher planes of understanding. For that, one has to constantly keep it in check. The lower feelings, the identification of oneself as the body. That is what this looking at the direction of south depicts. South side is the side of, that south direction is the direction of death. That is nothing but the limbs or the body which is beneath the neck, below the neck, below the throat. This is identification of lower feelings. What is it? Mainly the crux, the ego's arisal is directly connected to the feeling as I am this body. You just verify yourself how your desire arises, how comparison arises. The moment one compares, even our upbringing, since childhood, even for the mother to feed the child, the mother will say, see, look at the crow, it will snatch away your food. Take it, like that she will say. By nature, she brings in another reference point. The duality comes also very naturally in one. And there is always this comparative mind which is in one. And it pervades, the comparison pervades the whole of the consciousness through the senses also. All the senses are always in relation, always in comparison. The moment I look at someone, the moments even a kid looks at another, what happens? There comes comparison. The very analysis formed out of comparing about that and himself. These are all lower feelings, certainly. These lower feelings drain one. That should be constantly under check. Though he is looking at, Lord Dakshinamurthy is looking at the direction of south, his gaze actually at the tip of the nose is inwardly fully withdrawn, None of the senses are extroverted. He is fully withdrawn. He is within himself. And for that all the dharana reference points are brought in, and through that dharana he constantly disidentifies himself. Constantly disidentifies. Knowing for real, understanding for real, that he is none of this. That's why, even for that process to happen, the jnana indriyas, why it is called jnana indriyas? That are leading one to jnana. Those indriyas lead one to jnana, understanding, wisdom. Reading 1,000 books, traveling, visiting, taking a pilgrimage to all the places is not important. It's important even one idea, one concept is rightly understood or grasped and put it into practice. That's the most essential thing. Words are not important. The places are not important. The most important thing is for one to realize the truth behind those words. Here is looking at this south side, the direction of south. The lower feelings are constantly under check. Doesn't mean he practices something to put it under check. He is dwelling in an non-dual mode. The eyes gazing at the tip of the nose. Maybe he is practicing breath awareness, the awareness of breath, the incoming breath or the outgoing breath, or he is looking within himself. Whatever it may be, it's a depiction of the highest state, the supreme state. The very depiction, the very image lifts one. The very image lifts one. So that is the significance of the looking at the direction of south. What is it? South direction is normally identification with the body. It's an identification with the body as the center. It is the place by which a new fake pseudo entity generates itself. It comes up into play by the mere identification of the body as I am, body as by me, with me, of me, for me, mine. Mine is also all the belongings, all one's acquisitions are all actually identification of even the knowledge, even the in the psyche as objective knowledge one has acquired. Everything has become that body oriented identifications. And all of these identifications, where do they disappear? So the truth is oneself only, it is clouded by these two knowing states, the objectively knowing states, objectively cognizing states. The objectified states in one are the two states, that is dream state and deep sleep, dream state and the waking state. And the third state is totally nothing is cognized at all, because the very individual ceases to exist there. Okay, now we will go a step further. If you see the picture of Lord Dakshinamurthy, you also can view this picture more clearly. Go into Google and ask for Lord Dakshinamurthy photos. You will get those photos. You can see that. See what he holds. On four hands are depicted. On one hand he is holding the Damaru. In Sanskrit they say Damaru. In Tamil they say Udukai. It is a kind of small drum. It's a drum actually. It looks like the hourglass. For measurement in those days they used the hourglass, no? It is split with a thin center tube through which the sand drops down to the lower part. It is like that. He is holding in one hand that Damaru, that small drum. What is it? This Damaru Nadam, what is it says? It triggers one. End this body feeling. Dissociate yourself from the identification of body feeling. Be constantly doing this. What is the practice? He is alerting everyone. Through this nadam, through this sound, this Damaru's nadam, it's a small. In ending, there is a total living. Through ending of a body identification, the identification as a body-centric entity, and acting from that, I am this name, I am this particular desire, I am this particular expectation, I am this particular comparison, out of which lot of thought patterns have come in me, and I am caught in that. I am now that trying to express it through projecting it, through doing it, by doing it. All these things, because of this false center, one jumps into action. How does one get into karma, karmic activities? He creates. Comparison creates. Comparison brings in competition. Not only one this type of feeling, innumerable feelings that pervades. One, throughout the waking state, and the residual on its own, without even the support of the physical body and physical world, physical cosmos. Dream envelops one. One is enveloped by dream. It's not one desires to dream. One prepares himself to dream. Dream occupies him. One is made to dream. The same things, the leftovers, the hangovers of not only these waking states, because no one knows who they are, who he is. Registrations, the past registrations, they only decide the particular orientations or the directions of that individual. The tendencies they call, the vasanas in Sanskrit. The mere depiction of the Lord in this form, in this particular way, the Lord Shiva as Dakshinamurthy, as the Guru, and so many messages are given through this depiction, by this depiction. So many messages, so many clear-cut, direct communications are given by this depiction. One hand he is holding that, in the other hand he is holding the Vedas, that is the Veda Mahavakyas or the Veda, the essence of Vedas, in the palm leaves. One hand actually is in Chin Mudra, the Mudra of the pure intelligence. Pure intelligence. It depicts pure intelligence. Non-dual. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam. That pure intelligence pervades this everything. Everything is pervaded by it. One hand, right hand, Chin Mudra, the eyes gazing the tip of the nose. He is focused within himself. He is fully within himself, because one self is the truth, but not this self as the self which is associated with the feelings of the body, associated with the sensory perceptions, associated with the thoughts. The moment something arises as thinking in me, the moment it has arisen, the moment it has arisen, it is not the truth, sir. It has come away from the truth. It's like this, sir. Assume this existed before writing these complete sentences over this board. How the board was? It was empty, only white space. The white color pervaded the whole of the board. The moment with a pen, with a marker, I touch the board, the very touching or putting a dot on it, does it not hide, cover the white space in it? This is how the ego arises in one. It comes up with a form. It comes up in the form of a thought. It comes up in the form of a word. Thought is nothing but a word or sentence, a sound. What else is a thought? It's a sound consisting so many words and making a sentence. If it is identified, if it is associated with the presence of that entity, it is a conscious thought. I am thinking consciously. If it goes unnoticed, the thought process, if it goes unnoticed, it is unconscious thinking. It is almost like daydreaming. Without a center, something has taken you over and it is on its own like a machinery. It is projecting itself. It is modifying itself. Here, all these things are put to rest. They are checked there and then. as they arise. There and then, as it arises, even before its arisal, it is made in such a way that they don't arise at all. That is what the posture conveys. All the limbs, all the total appearance of Lord Dakshinamurthy, the form. So on one hand, his hand, 3 fingers are opened, and this index finger and the thumb forming a round, it represents something as whole, complete. The index finger touching the tip of the thumb and making a hole. These 3 states, they give an explanation like this. Explanations are not important. The explanations that convey something, they convey something that is more important than the words or words of explanations. So here, this round represents the fullness, the completeness. The Jiva has transcended himself and he is one with that non-dual thing. And these 3 states, namely, we know that. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep. He has transcended these things. They are kept apart. This is actually a practicable, applicable, deployable, usable, understandable practice. The very form depicts this. This was the way the livelihood itself was carried on. Here in this part of the globe. The remembrance of the very remembrance of the words, the sloka, the stuti, immediately one is elevated. Let us get back to the posture. So one hand is the Chin Mudra, the another hand is holding the Damaru, that every moment of waking state or the objectified states, the state of objectification, because we are lost in objectivity. We go on objectifying ourselves. I don't know for what. Projecting, altering, modifying, correcting, rejecting, accepting, patting, discarding, doing one or the other things for nothing. Everything, every moment of our waking state is going on with this, filled with this. The inner chatter. We had allowed it. We had allowed it to go on. That's the problem. Now hold back. Take it seriously, because life is not simply to be thrown away. Time will swallow. Time swallows everything. That's why he has kept a damaru also, a small drum. It produces a sound constantly and says, that also he is using it for awareness. To get anchored within himself, the real self, the authentic self, not the manifested one. Also, he is pinpointing to the complete cosmos, especially to the human beings. Come back within yourself. Practice different kinds of awareness in all your waking state actions. That's why in the southern part of India, throughout the day, it was only the activities associated with the temples that were going on for many centuries. For many, many centuries. He communicates, he conveys. Bring in all your waking state activities. That is the only area one is left over with. One has. You bring in all the waking state activities. Wherever, however you may be placed. Know for sure that there is that. Also get on with this. Orientation is always towards this, towards the higher. Nothing will go wrong. People generally think, what is this? If I go on doing this, only gazing at that, what am I to do? How am I to look after my children? Everything will go on more efficiently. More efficiently, more alertfully. One will never miss any detail. One will also never overstep, overreact, overact, overdo. Everything, both do nots also will be known as well as do's. What are to be done and what are not to be done, both will get revealed. Jnana is the essential nature of everyone, sir. It is an essential nature. It is an essential nature in everyone. One comes with that. When we go to the sloka says, it is the innate nature in everyone. The very first sloka, like a bombshell, he only refers to Dakshinamurthy that you are as a Lord, because that is the only lordship that rules everything. As the Lord, you had graced me. By your grace only, I could see this. I am seeing this. I am looking at this. I am not this. The feeling of the body, the egocentric body identifications. I am something beyond. I am that thing that which lies in and through everything. We will get back to the depiction of the Lord. On one hand he is showing the Chin Mudra, on the other hand he is showing the Damaru. The third hand, the left hand holds the scriptures, the Vedas. Vedas are the exponent wisdom, nothing but wisdom about the creation. What is this creation? Who are you? What are you? How are you? Why are you? This nowhere in this cosmos one will get, sir. We are lost in the world. We are lost through our senses. We are lost in our mind. Losing ourselves in the world or losing ourselves in the mind, they both say the same thing. They both communicate the same thing. Because everything comes out from within. potter, one who creates the pot, the potter, upon the wheel, he places the wet clay lump. And how does he make the pot? What is the first thing he does? First he inserts his thumb and makes a depression in the lump of clay. A slush like clay on the wheel is revolving. First he depresses. He creates the yin. A depression is nothing but he is creating the yin. The eventual creation is the out. The wall is created. The pot's wall is created. Automatically it's an eventual creation. There exists nothing called as outside at all. That is the synopsis of this sloka, this stuti, this especially this stotram. There as world, nothing exists. Your mind carries it as world and yourself. Both do not exist. What are you in your deep sleep? The moment one says there exists no world, what does it mean? No names, no forms, nothing. Nothing. The moment one says that world itself doesn't exist, what about him? Is one not included in the world? He is the world. The next, sir, the highest point on another, the fourth hand on the left hand side, he is holding a flame. A flame he is holding. Lord Dakshinamurthy is holding a flame. What is it? J. Krishnamurthy, throughout his life, has been talking about the flame of attention that drives away ignorance in one. That is the flame, sir. The flame of attention, flame of bare attention. It doesn't have any motive, it doesn't have any drive behind it, influencing it. It doesn't have any direction. It is an open, naked attention. Flame represents that. Actually, Buddha has used this word. Be a lamp unto yourself. You are the only light available to yourself. The world is nothing but complete darkness. Thoughts are produced in darkness. Thoughts are darkness embodied. Darkness and ignorance, both are same. If I become directional, because thought places me in a particular direction. The orientation happens the moment I become a thought. Through thought only, I become linear. Attention is an higher abode. What is attention, sir? Pure observation. Without an observer. Observer, the moment observer, someone as a center, if he sees or if he observes, it is not pure observation, sir. Here, attention, bare attention or observation, what do they convey? they convey that there is no center as such observes. That means no influence behind that observation. An observer is always under influence of the past, trying to middle this present, trying to continuously middle the present and do something in the present out of the past and project something as new and trying to modify himself as something that newborn entity. This is what is this folly that is constantly going on in everyone. Here, the fourth hand of the Lord Dakshinamurthy is holding a flame. This is a flame of attention. One has lit oneself with this flame. With this flame only, without this flame, one will be lost in these waking day activities. These are all being investigated with all of you only with the idea of its applicability in our momentary living, in our waking states, for nothing else. This should be listened very sincerely, very seriously. Seriously in the sense, the very life one carries on. Cannot be just like that drained here. Not knowing who he is or what the things which are being carried on by him. Not for that. Every moment counts. So precious to have a human form and to have a mind and make it as a boat to transcend the very mind itself, this existence itself, the so-called these three states of continuous formation and disappearance. This is what is birth and death. One simple question, sir. In deep sleep, where is the question of birth or death? Is it a state of birth or is it a state of death? To experience, to be, one needs mind. Mind in the sense, an association of some crystallized manifested entity through thinking. A thought only produces a thought represents identification with a center. This is what is actually birth. What is our nature of deep sleep? Where does he go? Is he born or is he dead? So all these birth, death, the agonies, the strife, the problems, the sorrow, the loneliness, what not, the anxieties, the expectations, the hurts, pain, death. Everything, are they not only connected with the waking consciousness, the waking state, for practical application only, here the very depiction through these four hands, they depict certain instruments. One is symbolically telling the pure and intelligence alone is the perfect state, the state of fullness, the state of perfection, the only state. This state does not lie somewhere away from these three states also. That is why, having taken a human form, we have a mind which can see through all these things only in the waking state. That is why what to practice, how to go about, the applicability, the practice. That is what is his form conveys. The whole truth is conveyed in silence. He is sitting under the banyan tree, and the most crucial point is under his foot, under his right foot. He is stamping one asura, a demon. Actually, that demon represents ego. What is ego? Through all senses, when I see, I am seeing that. I, the body as the seer, seeing is the capacity of the body as if it is assumed in that seeing, and one is seeing that scenery or some TV program. I am seeing that. I am looking at that. I am looking at a tree. As if this I amness is generating from his body all these capacities. It is, one is lost in this ignorance just very naturally. This association with the body as I am, me, with me, of me, by me, for me, mine, in me, on me. These are all the words. The moment these words are the way in which one thinks, what happens? The whole world becomes he, she, they, our, your, this, that. Maya also happens very naturally. That is what this association with the body as I amness creates. That is symbolically, pictorially, in an image, as a demon. He is constantly stamping it. The moment he lifts his leg, he cannot continue his chin mudra. The Lord cannot continue in chin mudra. It will not be a perfect, full state. It is not a transcendent state. So, what it symbolizes, it says that practice is incessant, ceaseless. There cannot be any break. It doesn't mean, just like Dakshinamurthy, one has to sit throughout waking state. You catch up in daily your activities. It is symbolically it is shown. One cannot also sit like this. It need not sit also, because truth has to be grasped, understood. Not by a center. Not by a center. Any understanding happens beyond your local center. If the interference is there, Through associative thinking, one cannot understand anything at all here, even in our mundane activities. For to understand anything, tremendous silence, the inner silence is needed. This is what the Muyalakan, in Tamil they say Muyalakan, the effortful entity. One never ceases to exist without an effortful trying here, without taking effort here. Anything and everything is continuously within the mind. The intellect never stops. Goes on working. Goes on deciding, not deciding, or deferring, putting in abeyance. Doing one or the other thing, but never stops. For anything and everything, there are doubts. The explanation about his form, the depiction, we will stop with this, and I will continue taking the sloka in my next satsang. We will meet in our next satsang.